would like to hear from you is what is your experience, what you like, what you didn't like, what you like to see in the future.
I was extremely skeptical coming into the HD setups, but today's kind of proven that you guys have come a long way. I flew it months ago. I honestly wasn't that impressed with it, and after all the updates and all the work that you guys put into it, it's a flyable platform that looks better than anything that we've had yet. The only downsides that I feel to it are the size of the antenna and the receiver. It's a little bit heavier, but other than that, how smooth it's been, you know, setting up with everybody and plugging in and going, I think you guys are onto something good. So it's
good, thank you.
Yeah.
Regarding the antenna, I can tell you, don't tell it to the industry. A smaller antenna is coming.
very good.
So
Circular or still linear?
no, it's still the same configuration, but it's much smaller antenna. It's coming, so we are working on it. I think, I don't want to say exactly the time, but in a month or so we'll be with a smaller antenna. The VTX, to make it smaller, it's a little bit more challenging.
I like the system a lot today. I came in with the thought that, you know, I've heard people who've flown it and were like, oh, there's issues like, you know, like the light to dark issues on high performance mode was a huge turnaround. People didn't like that at all, and it was really going to mess you up. I heard that high quality mode, whatever 30 frames per second is, I heard that was like very disorienting for a lot of people. And I flew my first flight with 30 frames per second mode, and I was very disoriented the entire flight. But when I switched to the high performance mode with 60 frames per second, I really, really liked it. I mean, I've heard people talk about latency and stuff like that, but I felt absolutely none at all. Nothing that I could remotely pick up. And I really, you know, once I got used to it, really liked kind of like the extra wide, like 16:9 field of view, because it feels like I just get a more detailed of what I usually see, and then just more information on the edges. And I really like that a lot. Once I got used to it, I think it's going to be really difficult going back to analog. And then also having like absolutely zero breakup was really weird.
I don't even
I can't even
remember the breakup. Like,
not
it
even
wasn't
a
there.
blip. Like, because when you're flying analog, like it's really weird because like when you fly analog, even in like the best RF scenarios, you'll still get little blips, little lines, just little
bleed
things.
over.
Yeah, and it's never bad. It's always really good video. But to have absolutely zero was like mind blowing to me.
From my experience with this whole thing so far, we all came in here very, very skeptical. We're going to talk together. I'm beyond blown away with it, to tell you the truth. I mean, we came out here throwing 8 people up in the air, like you said, no blips, no hits in the video at all, feeling confident in flying as fast as you can the entire time. That's what makes really good racing. When you have breakup in analog, you get nervous coming around the track every once in a while. Especially when you're taking off and you have that many people piled up, and all of us are fast, so we come off the line together, and we're in a pile going through a gate, and you don't notice anything except the copters that are flying next to you in the air. Like that's beyond impressive. And it was great to see it happen. 60 frames a second, I can't tell the difference between that and my analog system, except it looks a million times better. I mean, I think it's something that a lot of people, when they first try it, and a lot of people that say things bad about it, I think it's because they're more overwhelmed with the system than anything. Because when I fly out there, I catch myself looking off to the edges, watching the grass.
Looking for the gator in the pond.
Yeah, and it's like you forget that you're flying because we're so used to looking at that really good video on a GoPro, watching a video on YouTube. Well, you're watching this live, and it's like you have to like kind of reconnect with that and understand that this is what I'm watching now. This is what I'm gonna fly with. Like
It's not the GoPro.
no, it's happening live, and that's the one thing people are like, oh, I feel lag in this. I think those people are just getting lost in the vibrance and the detail that you see everywhere. I mean, everything worked great. It's phenomenal. I'm very, very impressed. Like you said, the only thing that's a big issue for me is antenna right now. VTX is not a big deal. It would be nice if it was smaller so we could put it on maybe a smaller copter or something like that. But otherwise, it's perfect. I mean, it ran incredible.
How about the camera? Sorry.
Yeah. I was setting the camera, being able to change the camera settings, the exposure settings, and maybe the color settings would be a plus as well. For low light, and washed out from the sun from overexposure. So those settings would be nice to have. So we could change them. Because I know I had a problem with it. Nobody else did, but the timing system in the morning was undercover from the sun, and when I turned around there, I couldn't see it.
You need HDR. We don't have HDR yet on the 60 frame per second, only on the 30.
Okay.
We're working on that.
Got it.
The big question that we have is, would you put another VTX size board on your quad in order to record the recording on the ground is a little bit less resolution. It's less good than recording directly from the camera. We can connect the MIPI connection that you have. We can put between the camera and the VTX the recorder. So you really record it raw. From the camera. The same size as the VTX. So what I'm asking, we have this question by ourselves. Will you put it and will you pay for it another $150?
No.
No. So I understand that this is, or even $100. Would you pay $100?
If it's
If it's the same size. If it's the same size, no.
Yeah.
So the solution probably will be that we'll need to look is the solution that will be in the receiver itself. Something that is connected to the receiver, and you saw here, you see these two recording. This is how much it costs on Amazon? $60 on Amazon. So you have this box. You see this box with the recorder. You have HDMI in, HDMI out. You have the
What is it? That's a DVR? Any latency or no?
nothing.
I think the recording.
So there is a solution for recording right out of the box. Go to Amazon, buy a $60 recorder. HDMI in, HDMI out, and you're set. This one.
Yeah, but it's like $500.
What is the cost?
No, they
of
have
it?
them for 250. You can get
250.
Can we figure out what it is?
This is high end.
This is very high-end recording
This
system.
is professional.
This is what they use in Hollywood. We provide to Hollywood also the connects, the regular connects, and that's what they're using over there. What you have to say about the different experience with the different goggles?
Well, I fly the HD2, the Fat Shark HD2, and I've been flying them most of the time today. And they've been fine, but when I use the glyphs, I noticed that I actually do have a little latency in the goggles, but I didn't know.
In the glyph you have latency?
No,
or in
the glyphs, you notice it with the
Fat Shark?
glyphs. Yeah, in the Fat Sharks I did notice it. But you don't notice it until you switch, and it's nothing that hindering me in the race. It feels slower. When I put on the glyphs, I feel like it's real time.
So when I do flying the glyphs was a lot more natural feeling to me because I fly like the Dominator, or I fly the Fat Shark Attitude V3s, and so the way I would compare it was that the glyphs were like the Dominator V3s and the Vuzix goggles were like headplates, and so, so I feel like if people who like the really immersive like big screen with the headplates would really like the Vuzix goggles, but a lot of us who fly like Fat Shark goggles, which have a smaller screen, that the glyphs feel a lot more natural.
Yeah, they just need to block out light and we're perfect.
The goggles are definitely a weird experience because you can see other things.
Blades of grass and gators and ponds.
Yeah.
You can see all dragonflies.
I was dodging them.
Yeah, that was weird. Like the dragonflies
Flying in front of
in the goggles, it looked like other quads flying. Because on analog, I just
We
see
saw
black,
it on the screen here. We see a lot of things
I
flying.
did notice
like
that
the
when you're
black
racing,
lips.
you don't really notice the quality
Yeah, you
improvement.
don't.
But when you come here to watch your
notice-
DVR, when you have it recorded, then you're like, damn, it looks really good. But when you're racing, you just see gates. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're flying in grass or just tar. It doesn't matter.
But still, the fact that there's no like breakup.
Yeah, there is no
That's-
breakup.
yeah.
Even when we're all in a pack, it's not.
Yeah, I mean we flew
No
8
lines.
pilots together. Absolutely no video.
Yeah, back to back to back.
Yeah.
Like we could just
Absolutely no video issues.
And we were all pretty close.
Solid with nothing. Yeah.
With the flight line.
That in itself is a task.
on the side of
Just tape it to your goggles. You're good.
When are you guys gonna have the hologram projection so that I can just fly from my room when I wake up in the morning? Come up to music. We're working on
the
it.
best request that we get, and it will be there, is to catch Pokemon with your quad. So when will we have AR? When will we have AR on our system? But think about it. This is the future because once you are moving to digital, all these gates, you don't need to set them up. You go one day out, you put your gates on your system and you fly with your gates. Once you are on this, think about what digital will bring. This is just the beginning of the era of digital.
Question about the digital. So as far as like timing, because obviously you see we have an issue with timing. We have an issue with timing all the time. Either the gate's too high or too low, or there's the sun in it, and you have to have a transponder. Is there a way to do some sort of digital?
Let me talk to that. So, one of the things that we're doing for the Worlds is looking at the timing system independently of the video challenge. And the two are not really connected. But there is a system now that we were just offside to do a phone call to use at the World Championships, a timing system that's RSSI based, similar to what we were trying to do in New York, but it failed in New York for lots of reasons. Over, under, directional issues and metal structures, etc. But the concept of using the RSSI signal strength for timing is a solid idea. And it actually already works with the ProSight. So in the last Drone Champions League race in Europe, they flew analog alongside one ProSight pilot. And all of them were timed with the RSSI signal strength that was just measuring the video frequency strength from the pilot flying through it. So I think ultimately that'll be the fix for all the challenges that we're running and continuing to run in with any IR-based iLab or whatever IR system. So, and there's a few other systems that are GPS-based or high-precision GPS, that kind of stuff. But I think signal strength RSSI is probably the fix for the timing issue long term. When I set this up, when I said to Ram, Ram, before we plan anything else, we have to do a real test. A test with real pilots that fly at real race speeds on a real course with real conditions, heat after heat after heat. And we'll see what happens. We'll fly with 2 pilots, 3 pilots, 4 pilots. We'll just do it. I can't tell you how it's going to work, but we got to do it. And I said to the Amazon guys, I said to them, I hope you guys are ready for whatever the results are. Because this could have just as easily gone sideways, right? I mean, if, like Kane said, he didn't expect too much. I was sort of 50-50. It may work, but it may not work. And I was blown away when I saw 8 pilots at once flying, and I didn't see any breakup anywhere. It was like, how the hell is that possible? It was amazing to see. I'm incredibly surprised. Pleasantly surprised. I'm a major shareholder in the DSA, which is one of the major companies in the world to produce races. And this race today, this test was really sort of a trial. Obviously, we have the other DSA guys here as well, with Daniel here and San over there, who's the CEO and the CEO of the company. I wanted them to see this as well firsthand, to make a decision whether or not this is ready for primetime racing, for the races that we're putting together, like the Drone Nationals all around the world, or the upcoming World Championships. We'll have to see. This World Championships may not have enough time to figure it all out, but that's okay, right? We're going to be in this for the long term. There's going to be many thousands more drone races in the future, and this was an incredibly important day today that, from my point of view, went over really well. So I'll pass it back to you guys. I think Abel is next to talk about his experience.
Yeah, I started flying. The first time I ever flew HD was Monday. Tuesday. Tuesday was the first time I flew HD. Immediately I went to 30 frames, high quality, just to see how it looked. I had talked to Bapu a lot and some of the other guys that have flown HD, and they told me, yeah, go to 30, it's going to be the best. If you fly 60, you'll have. So I went to 60 with my Dom V2s and saw the lag, went to Dom V3s, or HD V2s, went to Dom V3s. It got better, but it still had a little bit of a delay. I explained it to people that haven't really seen it. It's like playing a computer game where your computer's just not fast enough to process it. So you get like a slight amount of image tear, and it's kind of like catching up. But as soon as I did that, I went to 30, or high performance 60, went to my HD V2s, and I've been flying like that since Tuesday, and I loved it. I was like everybody else. I was wondering what was going to happen here. Last time I tried to fly 8 pilots was like May or March of last year with Chris Thomas in Melbourne. We all had 25 milliwatts spaced, I think it was 20 hertz apart or something like that. We tried it. We got like 2 lucky runs, and then every time somebody else, we would start and somebody was bleeding over somebody. from the get-go. As you separated, it got a little better, but it was always some kind of interference when someone would cross in front and you were out there. And right here today, I haven't had any single video problems. It's been smooth. So you guys did a good job. Very happy that I got to be here, and thanks Tim and you guys and everybody else for coming out.